Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well this morning. I'm doing better. I'm doing better this morning. My phone is just ringing, ringing, ringing today. And it's not even people that, it's not even real people. It's just garbage. Where is my. Oh, there are my stencils. I was looking for those yesterday. If you guys would do me a favor when you hop on, just say hi and let me know where you're joining from. That will be awesome. That way, honestly, I can make sure I'm in the right place. I have priors, y'all. Um, or in the right places. Oh, okay. My glasses. I don't know how my glasses get so dirty, but they do. So let me clean those really quickly. And we can get started this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Carolyn. Oh, how are you? Your projects that you showed were so pretty. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, y'all, I was just going to push through to the end of January. I'm like, I'm just going to push through to the end of January and then I will like do something to really rest. And my body this weekend was like, no, we're going to rest now. So I apologize for having to cancel. But I honestly did not have an option. It just was not going to happen. So this morning, hey, Tina from West Virginia, how are you? So I'm excited about this morning's project, you guys. I was going to make it super complicated, but I think I decided not to do that. So before we get to like the paper choices, let's talk about like what we're going to be doing this morning. Um, oh, I know you guys have snow. I am so sorry, Beth. I hope you're staying safe and warm. Warm. So I have just a regular canvas bag. This is actually one of my recycled this is so at the retreat we have swag bags and this is what the swag bags come in, like this little canvas bag. And so we're going to paint it today. And we're going to decoupage it today. And I'm going to show you guys my inspiration in just a few minutes, but let's run through the products that we're going to use. I've done a little bit of prep today. I went through, so there's this a product, it's called GAC 900, not 9,000. If you're in the membership, you heard me call it GAC 9,000. I know, I'm such a dork. Um, GAC 900, and hey, Tara. So we're going to be using this today, and this is a heat set fabric painting medium. So you can add this to your acrylic paints in order to make them fabric paints. That's why we're going to use this today. And because this is made to be used with acrylic products, I'm going to be decoupaging with my acrylic medium today, right? I also have some heat bond liquid vinyl, which all of this is an experiment today. I do not know if this is going to work. We are going to find out together today. So I have my heat and bond liquid vinyl to use as our final coat on top of everything. I have my various acrylics paints over here. What I've done before we got started today was I just took some white acrylic paint and I mixed it 50-50 with the GAC 900. And I just laid down, and actually I used a different white. I used a transparent white because that's what I had. And I laid down a base coat and I let this dry. So that way um, we're kind of sealing off these fibers so that what we do over the top hopefully will sit on top and won't sink through readily. And then inside, I have, you guys know those little plastic chopping mats that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I meant to bring it back out here with me, the package. If you look on the wall where they have all like the measuring cups and all that stuff, you guys will see these hanging there and they come in packs of twos and they're just plastic um, cutting mats. And so I just stuck one of those in here. I did stick the shiny side facing up because I knew that that was going to be more likely, less likely to stick to my fabric. And so that's what I've done to prep. So I have my Dollar Tree plastic chopping mat inside of here. You can use whatever, right? We just want to make sure whatever we do on this side doesn't bleed through to the other side. And I did leave my mat is only so big, it goes up to like right here. And so I figured we would do this trip together so I could show you guys exactly what I did. And we'll dry it and then we'll iron everything before moving on to actually decoupaging our paper onto our bag. So I'm just going to move this up so that I can paint this part up here. My mat wasn't big enough, so I'm cheating. So I'm going to move the mat up a little bit. That way when I paint, it doesn't bleed through to the other side. I'm only going to work right up to the seam as far as the paper is concerned, although I might go back and paint this top part later. But we're already going to run out of time. Not run out of time. We're already going to go over with this project. I can tell. So any kind of extras we'll do. And usually on Monday is my day to like finish projects and do a Q&A. Hey, Angela. But because I canceled yesterday and last night, I figured we would do a project together today. So we're going to do this in a few minutes. But before we get started, I wanted to take you guys through like my thought process as far as what paper I want to use today. This is what I wanted to do. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I want to fussy cut out some flowers and then paint them. Is my clipboard here? Much like we did here with the clipboard, where we fussy cut out the flower and then we use like some mixed media to make a design. This is what I want to do, but I also know that I have a lot of people who watch who are brand new to decoupage, and I don't want them to feel like every project has to be super complicated. So I don't know. Like that's what I want to do. And I even had some of the other paintable designs pulled out. So maybe we could add some birds to our design. I may go back to that. I'm going to see. We're going to see. We'll see. And then I pulled out this one. I thought this would be really cool to have this design on your bag, but you would almost have to do a strip because this paper isn't big enough to cover the whole section. So maybe we could do a strip in the middle. But ultimately, I decided no on that one. I pulled out this piece because we may need, depending on how I go, these strips of paper, but I don't know. So I'm going to keep this one pulled out, and we may go back to this if we end up piecing together multiple designs. I did pull out this piece because I love it, and I thought that maybe you guys saw, let me show you. Whenever I do something in my art journal or my junk journal, whatever you want to call it, it's just an upcycled book, right? That I've covered and now I've done stuff in here. We did this one together earlier last week, but whenever I do something in my book, it's always with the desire to do it on a project. So this was something that I did inside of here, and I thought that we could possibly do something like this on our bag, and that would be really cute. And we may still. I just don't know. I don't know. We're going to make a decision by the time we get done with prep today, exactly what we're going to do. But I pulled this out just in case that ends up being the case. But when I look at the bags, I'm going to show you guys my inspiration really quickly. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Beth. Whether it's Facebook or YouTube, girl, I'm just glad you're joining the madness. Okay, so I saw these bags on Pinterest, and these bags, what they're doing is they're literally taking canvas paintings that have been stretched onto a frame. They're cutting them off the frame, and they're using them to make these bags. Aren't they fabulous? And whoops. And there are a lot of different kinds. You see that some of them, like this one, for instance, you see a line down the side. That's more than likely the back side of the canvas, that's wrapped around the frame that isn't painted that made it onto the bag. But the strips that I showed you earlier from the junk journal paper, we could use that if we wanted to piece together some designs. There was one more bag, I thought. Oh yeah, here it is. And then this was a bag. And this bag made me think about the paintable floral decoupage paper as being an option for this bag. So I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do right now. I'm not even like messing around with you guys. Uh, we're gonna see what happens. What had happened was, um, oh, yeah, Angela, aren't they? I had never thought about that. And I see stuff all the time at the thrift store. So now, of course, I have new eyeballs when I see those pieces at the thrift store. So because those pieces are made out of like canvas artwork, I really am torn about what I want to do because this is an old design and it's retired. So I'm sorry if I'm going to stress you out. This was designed by Ricky Schumacher, and she was an artist who licensed with us a couple of years ago. I have some sheets left in my stash. I am sure there are recycled retailers who have this still in their inventory. But it's just, I'm not shipping it from my warehouse anymore because when I sign with an artist, it's generally for a set amount of time. Um, and that's just how it works, right? I'm basically leasing permission to use their artwork. And so this was a piece by Ricky Schumacher, and I thought that this would be beautiful on the bag, especially when you look at the inspiration, right? That I used for my bags. And then we also have um, the recycled art blocks, fine art blocks that we can use. And certainly these here would be reminiscent of um, the pieces that we saw in the inspiration. And because some of them, they didn't always go just one direction or have just one piece, we could certainly piece this together on here. We could maybe even put them side by side and then either just paint the top or put a strip on the top. So I don't know. I think that my final two decisions are to use these two pieces on the bag or for us to build something custom. So how about I'll be nice and you guys, I'll be nice. I'm going to be nice because I don't know what this makes. So you guys help me. So A, we're going to use the fine art box. B, we're going to build our own design and paint it. You guys help me decide. Okay. So I'm going to let votes come in for the next 3 minutes and then whichever one gets the most votes, that's what we're going to do. Promise. I'm not going to make up my mind in between that. But I will start prepping our base coat while you guys are voting on which one we use. So A, the fine art blocks. B, we're going to make our own design. Oh, wait, I don't need that. So I'm just mixing together a 50-50 mixture of white paint and the GAC 900 so that I can finish that top strip on the top that I didn't finish when I was prepping for this originally. But I wanted to get some prep done because I feel like you guys spend a lot of time watching me dry stuff. Like nobody wants to watch paint dry, right? Oh my gosh, you guys are split. You gotta make me make a decision. I may have put a little bit too much, but it's okay. And I brought these cups rather than my silicone cups just because I know I'm going to be mixing several colors today, right? And I didn't know how many colors I'd be mixing, so it was easier just to bring out a stack of that. And I'm saying 50-50, but you guys see I'm not measuring, right? I mean, the whole purpose of the GAC 900 is really just to make your acrylics soft enough that they absorb into the fabric instead of just sitting on top. B B B B B B B B A. Okay, let me see. I was kind of you guys would vote B, honestly, if I'm being honest, because then we can be a little bit more creative. A B B B A B B B B. It looks like B is winning right now. Um. So let's do this part and then I'll look at the votes when we get ready to actually decoupage. So I have just, oh Lord, this camera, it doesn't like when everything is just white. So I'm just sitting this right here just so that it has something. Let's not do that. Just so it has something to focus on. So don't pay attention to that. But I'm going to mix together my acrylic paint with the GAC 900. And I'm using, when I did the bottom part, I used a transparent white, and this is more of an opaque white. And this is a heavy body too, which means I'm probably going to need a little bit more of my GAC. You know, when we're buying paints, sometimes we are tempted to buy like the least expensive. Sometimes it makes sense to do that, right? But I've learned with my acrylic paints that the student grade doesn't have as much pigment and is often isn't as heavy. So the artist grade paints cost more, but they also have more pigment. Um, and if you get the heavy bodied, it's a lot thicker. So you use less. So, you know, which is fine. Some colors, it doesn't really matter. But like for white, I find that getting the artist grade, like heavy body white, is so much better. Because sometimes it's hard to get an opaque application when you're using white paint. So I've mixed this and the bottom is already done. I just have this top section that I didn't get to. I wanted us to do it together. So I am just going to paint this right over the top. And that still isn't thin enough. Oh my goodness. I should have used a lot less paint. That's why I say you start off with 50-50 and then you go from there because it's going to be based on what you want. And for this, I really do want the paint to absorb into the fabric. I don't want it to sit on top. And so I'm going to see if I can do something really quick. I'm trying not to wet it too much because I would like for it to dry today. But I do want that the pigments to soak into the fabric. So that's why I'm trying to make this looser. So it looks like B1, you guys. Yay! I get to be a mad scientist. I'm always happy. I mean, the other one would have been pretty too. And if one of you like makes a bag and you use that, I would love to see it. I would love to see any projects that you guys have done that have been inspired by our quick crafts that we've been doing every day in the month of January. And I just jumped right into things. I should probably introduce myself. Good morning. My name is Royce Bell, and I am the founder, owner, and operator of Roycycled Treasures. At Roycycled, we empower creation through quality craft supplies, instruction, inspiration, and encouragement. And whether you are creating for your heart, for your home, or even for your business, you are welcomed here. So, welcome, welcome. We have been meeting every day in the month of January as a kickstart for our creativity for 2026. So, yesterday I missed because my body was done. You guys, I slept so much this weekend. It was crazy, crazy town. But I guess I just needed to. My plan was to like just push through to the end of January and then rest after that. But my body had other plans. I was walking through Walmart and it was kind of scary because I kind of thought I was going to pass out in Walmart yesterday. So we came home and I laid down and I didn't wake up till like 5:15. It's crazy. But I do feel better tonight. I mean, today. And I went to sleep at a decent hour last night. So that was a lot of white. And you guys see, this white is so much whiter than the white on the bottom. Is that going to cause a problem for me? This is what we're going to do. So I'm going to make a creative choice here. So earlier today, when I prepped my bag, I used a transparent white. And then right now I use a really opaque artist grade white. And so this is going to be way whiter than the bottom. So rather than like, I'm going to lean into this, right? Let me get, um, I'm going to put my mic right here. I'll be right back. Okay. So rather than paint everything all over again and then us having to wait an eternity for it to dry, we're going to make it look like this was a creative choice. Okay. We're going to cheat. Nobody's going to know except for you guys. So don't tell anybody. Hey Sharon, I was going to tell you when I go onto your Substack on my computer, it like wants me to log in. I don't know what my login is, so I always have to wait till I get my phone to answer you. So I was going to answer your reply and let you know that I appreciate you so much, and I know you'll appreciate this. I've been on like a classical art journey. I've been learning a lot, so I have been producing some new art. I posted some on my community on YouTube if you want to look, and you can kind of see what I was talking about um, when I posted earlier. Okay, so I'm going to take my brayer, y'all, and I am just going to go in here like this. So we're going to make it look like our choice to have like white not be everywhere was intentional. And like I said, don't tell nobody, right? Y'all don't give away my secret now. So now we can bring some of that white down here without having to soak the whole thing. And it's going to look like we did it on purpose. See if I can make that line a little bit more organic. That squeaking right there, I use this. We're working with a gel plate inside my membership, and I about drove them crazy, I think, with my squeaky brayer. And I'm just going over this line, trying to drag that paint down just a little bit so the line doesn't look so like straight. Make it look a little organic. And I don't want to put too much, right? Because my mat ends like right here. But that way our surface looks like we prepped it like this on purpose. And we might go in later with some other colors because I'm kind of digging that. And you guys probably can't really see it, can you? Um, but I'm just adding some additional marks. And so rather than having that solid white just at the top, we're bringing it down. And then the line, the delineation, I'm just making it a little bit more organic and pushing it out so it doesn't look like such a straight line. Now, as far as anyone else is concerned, that was a creative choice we made. It wasn't on accident. And if you're new here and you're thinking, oh, Lord, what is she doing? We do a lot of experimentation around here. We do a lot of playing and a lot of experimenting because that is where you'll find your creative mojo is in your, the word just left me, just that quick. Not ability. That's what word came to me. And that's not the right word at all. You're going to find it in your willingness. I'll use that word. It wasn't the one to play, to experiment, to see what happens, right? Oh, thank you, Sharon. Yes, please email me. You're my email, right? It's still the same. Oh yeah, because I emailed you. Yeah, Lori, we love experimenting. Repertoire. Hey, Chris. I'm telling Vicky, don't tell. What happens in the quick crafts with Royce stays in the quick craft with Royce. That's the rule. You can't tell. And I'm not supposed to be reading comments when I do these in the mornings, but I just, I don't know. Interacting with you guys is kind of the funnest part. And I'm not doing a good job of staying focused anyway. So I might as well have fun while I'm here, right? And the cool thing about this, you guys, is that you can even use, I wish I'd brought out some of my acrylic markers. So this is I'm going to give you guys homework today. This is you guys' homework. Go to the thrift store and find you a cheap canvas bag. 25 cents, 50 cents. That way you don't feel any kind of preciousness about it. It's just a 50-cent bag. And I want you guys to sit down and create something on your bag. And I want you guys to play. That's it. That's the homework. And then I want to see it when you guys get done. Even if you think it's ugly, I still want to see it because chances are it's fabulous. You're just being too hard on yourselves. Can I confess something to you guys? I'm always telling you guys stuff like that, right? Like, don't judge yourself, be nice to yourself, blah, 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 blah. And, oh, nice, Carolyn. So, you guys know I've started my classical art journey. And I say classical art because I feel like fine art has judgment to it. And all creativity is creativity. It's just a matter of skills that you've learned and what you do. That's it. Literally, literally. And so I've taken a classical art journey. So I've been taking this program that I'm in. I'm taking these courses. And one of the first assignments that we had to do was we had to paint these parrots. And I mean, like we did some exercises, and I want to say, like by section 3, we're painting these parrots. And we're using oil paints. Now, mind you, I have never touched oil paint in my entire life. Entire life. So I paint these parakeets. I'm astonished, by the way, that I was even able to do them. But all I did was apply the skills that I learned so far in the course to be able to do it. And I am so proud of myself. And then I go into the group because there's like a group in the course that I'm taking. And I see other artists who are posting their projects. And you guys know what happened. Y'all know what happened. I need to listen to my own advice. I compared my project to other people's projects. And then all of a sudden, when I looked at it, all I could see was what was wrong with it, what I should have done with it, you know. But the only thing is the program that I'm in, there are brand new people like me and like spanking brand new people like me. And there are people who've been painting for years, but who are stuck. So they sign up for this course so that they can like grow because we never stop growing, right? So there I am like an idiot comparing my parrots to somebody who's probably been painting for 10 years. And comparison is just it just destroys your joy in what you're doing. And so it took me a little bit. I'll be honest with you. It took me a little bit. And then one day, I don't know what happened. I walked into my studio and I'm like looking at all these paintings and I'm thinking to myself, a year ago, I couldn't even do this. Like, what am I doing? Anyways, I have to talk to myself, y'all. Tina says the dog ate her homework. Oh, I know. If you're frozen in the snow, I know. If you don't have a tote, you probably can't even get out. How about any kind of canvas, anything? Maybe you have, I don't know. I just assume you guys' art stash looks like mine. It's ridiculous. Like if you have a piece of drop cloth somewhere, that will work. That's just canvas. But if not, I understand the dog ate your homework because it's freezing outside. I get that. I mean, I kind of don't. I could not imagine the kind of freezing that you guys are dealing with, but I understand. Thank you, Lori. But it's true, right? I remember my grandfather would always say this. You know how your grandparents say things and like you don't have context for it, so you just think it's nonsense. But he would just say, "New level, new devil." You know, you think you've arrived, and then you push yourself to go even further, and then you deal with the same kind of insecurities or questioning that you dealt with like your first time around learning. And so it's kind of like a coil, right? and you're going up the coil and you're learning more and more, but you still kind of arrive at those same places in your development where you either question or you compare. Um, and that's why I think it's so important to surround yourself with creative people, um, because we can encourage one another. You ever notice if you've ever been in an in person class where you're making something, you will be sitting there with your thing and you're looking at it, you're going, I don't know. It's okay. And then somebody will come to you and like, oh my gosh, it's fabulous, right? We all do that. And I just realized this plastic is not going to work for when I iron it because I don't want to melt the plastic. So let me, look, it's all sticky. Give me 1 second, you guys, because I have this. This will work. Oh, Lord. This is just another mat that I had. These are heat resistant too, you guys. So I'm just going to stick this in here. Oh, and look, it'll be big enough to cover the whole thing too. Give me a minute. Let me gather myself and get this put in here. I'm getting all kinds of extra stuff on my bag too because I did not clean off my table before we started today, but it'll be fine. That'll be just extra marks. It'll bring extra character. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Let's see if I can get this in here. Well, I don't need to fold that up. As long as it's wide enough, that's what's important. And it's kind of wet, so it's a little sticky. I was going to fold that edge up, but then when we went to paint it, I'd be having problems. See what I'm saying, you guys? I know we're going to go long today, but I figure some of you guys are like homebound today because it's freezing outside, and maybe you wouldn't mind hanging out with me for a little bit. And I apologize for postponing of the launch today, but I had to take care of my retailers. I forgot Monday was the holiday, and so I lost a day of mailing. And then with all the freezing weather, shipments have just, I was afraid. Actually, it hasn't really, a lot of people aren't experiencing delays. I thought there'd be more. So the Postal Service is still doing a very good job. However, I didn't know, right? So we are just going to play it safe. So if you guys show up here Wednesday morning at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and hang out with me, you'll get to see the new designs and we'll make a project together. Okay. So these mats are not only like, will nothing stick to them, but they're also, you can put heat on them too. Oh, Lord, I picked up all kind of marks. So we are going to iron this. Oh man, where's my stuff? We cleaned up, you guys. You guys know what happens when you clean up. I had a container over here with all of my mats in it, and now I don't see it. Oh, why would they take those out of there? Okay. We are going to improvise and use this mat right here. I know I'm a mess, y'all. I am a mess. And I have my little mini Cricut here that I'm using, but you can use a regular iron if that's what you have. Just make sure that you turn the steam off because you don't want to use steam with it. And we're going to iron this. I don't have to. I could just dry it and paint right over it. But for me, I really want to have a nice base when I start. And so, you know, that way when we go over it, it's, I don't know, it just always feels better when you start off with a nice base and your paint goes further too because it's not being sucked in by the fabric. Um, Lou says, I took a drawing class years ago, and you're right. We all have the talent God gave us. That's why artists are all different. And you know, Lou, I think people underestimate. It's like, remember when you were younger and you wanted to drive a car? Like, you didn't just have a talent. I mean, some people do have like a talent for driving cars. I'm not saying that logistically. I mean, literally, logistically. Literally, there are people who will become race car drivers because whatever is about them, they're really guarded. They're really good at driving cars, right? And we can't ignore that piece. There are people who are gifted in certain things, but just because there are people who are naturally gifted doesn't negate the abilities of everyone else to be able to learn how to do that thing at all. There are people who are naturally, gifted at athletics, but you still have the guy on the team who works really hard and practices who will outperform the person who's gifted naturally, right? And it's the same thing. So sometimes people will say, I remember 2 years ago, I started my membership, and the very first thing I taught was color theory. And right away, legitimately, almost 50% of my members were like, "Oh, that's just too much for me. Like that's not for me." Now, we all work with color, whether you're making crafts, whether you're painting furniture, you know what I'm saying, whether you're working in your art or junk journal, we're all using color. And so to me, understanding how colors work is for everybody, right? But we have been conditioned to believe that art belongs to a select few and that we don't belong in that world. And you guys know what? It's not true. It is not true. It is not true. I call BS on it. It has been exclusionary by design, um, to keep us out and have it be exclusive for people like who have money and or power or whatever. And so the reality is it is a skill like any other skill. Just like you had to learn how to drive a car before you could drive a car, it is the same. Just like you had to learn how to cook before you could cook, it is the exact same. I promise. And so when I post my paintings, people will say, "Oh my gosh, you're so talented." And talented is good. Like, I'll take it. Thank you. However, what's really happening is I'm taking a course, I'm learning new sets of skills, and I'm practicing them and putting them into practice, which is the same thing you do with anything that you learn. Honest to God, that's the truth. So, anyways, I'll get off my soapbox this morning. So, if you want to be able to paint whatever you want, you absolutely can. You just have to learn the stuff. I'm waiting for my iron to beep, beep, beep too. Angela, color theory and the rule of thirds, I block out every time. Why, Angela? And you know what, Angela? I'm glad you're here this morning because you'll remember. I remember when I was the last time I was in Tennessee, and me and oh my gosh, her mind just left me, which is so sad because it was right there. Who am I talking about, Angela? She passed away years ago. Help me remember, Angela, because I feel bad. I know her name. Um, oh my gosh. SJ came to my mind first, and I know that that's wrong. SK. Okay, so SK and I were in the kitchen, and we were working on those dang cows. Thank you. Yeah. And she says to me, Royce, you're an artist. And I'm like, whatever. And I have a picture. I'm such a crybaby. I'm going to cry. Of us in Angela's living room. And we have the cows on the wall. And she's walking me through like how to trace out this cow. And she's telling me the exact thing that I'm telling you right now. And even though everything in me wanted to be an artist, like the kind of artist who could like draw whatever I wanted, I just immediately did. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And not even because I didn't want to do it. I just immediately um, said to myself that I couldn't do it. And so guess what? I couldn't do it because I told myself I couldn't do it. Now I made that cow and it came out really cool, by the way. Is it in here? I have it hung up. It's probably in my space. I'm irritated with myself because I need something and I can't find it. So I'm going to use this instead. I'll use this. And anyways, I think about that often, about how much time I wasted. Because Angela, that was what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I mean, you start where you start and you go forward from there, and it's fine. But I could have been like doing it this whole time. Although I do think timing is something too. But anyways, she was such a sweet lady. And we have a picture, and this is how little she was, y'all. We have a picture of SK standing on a chair, and I think I was still taller than her. Oh, yeah, Betty. She was amazing. She really was. And so Angela's having a retreat, you guys, in July. Angela, you can put the details in the comments, okay? I have her cow petting. Oh, do you in your cabin? So I'll get to see it. Um, so she taught a class. So Angela had this Jazzing at the Junk event that we went to, although we called it an artist boot camp because we did so much that weekend. And so we're sitting in her class, and so she's having us draw like this forest. And I'm sitting next to Jane. Um, oh, what was Jane's? I'm sitting next to Jane, anyways. And she's like, okay, now you guys do this. And we're like doing what she tells us to do. But I'm just like, I don't see no trees. I don't see anything. I don't know what's going to happen. And Jane and I are both cracking up laughing because we're following her steps. But we have no faith whatsoever that our panel or our canvas is going to turn out to look like anything. But we're being blindly obedient. And then, like, all of a sudden at the end, a forest appears. Oh, sorry. It was funny. But it was nice going to that retreat too, because we did paint pours. Sometimes, you know, allowing yourself experiences is really important in your creative growth. And yes, I'm going to pitch my retreat that's coming up because I do think that that is a perfect opportunity for you to do just that. I do still have seats available at the Royce Besties retreat. It's scheduled for the last weekend in April. So I'm ironing this, and you guys see me filling it because I want to make sure that I've applied enough heat to set this before we move on, because I don't want this to reactivate when we start painting over the top of it. Yeah, Jane Dog, thank you. Yeah, Angela, we were a mess. We were misbehaving in the back of the classroom. We were still doing it though. And if you are interested in coming to the Royce Besties retreat in April and you are on Facebook, you can put hashtag retreat, or apparently you can just put retreat. And Facebook will send you a messenger with the details. And while I'm ironing this, I'm gonna play you guys a video, okay? It's like a minute long, a minute and 5 seconds, I think. And then we come back. I will answer any questions regarding it, or I'll be done ironing this and we can move forward with our projects. And don't go to the bathroom, y'all. Listen to my video, okay? I know, I'm a dork. You've been thinking about it, watching the photos, the joy, the creating. Something inside you whispers, I want this. But maybe part of you wonders, is it really worth it? Let me show you what you're saying yes to. 3 full days of creating with other women who get it. All your supplies included. Quality meals from local spots and a swag bag valued over $100. Exclusive decoupage paper and stencil you can't get anywhere else. Time with me and a small group where you won't get lost in the crowd. A visit to the Roycycled warehouse, including retired designs, and right outside the venue, downtown Safford's Spring Festival. Music, booths, entertainment for anyone traveling with you. One woman told me this retreat was life changing. You're not just signing up to meet me, you're stepping into a space that was built to pour back into you. If your heart's been whispering yes, this is your time. We'd love to see you there. And so those are just some photos from last year's retreat, you guys. It was such a wonderful time. Um, and I just can't even explain it. And you guys, we don't just sit at tables all day and just listen, to people talking. I'm not trying to put so much stuff in it that you don't get to enjoy the processes of what we're doing or what we're learning. You guys, we're all mad scientists actually. When you guys come, everyone's a mad scientist, and so the weekend is about experimenting, and then Friday is mostly all of the experimenting. And then Saturday, you guys get to take all the things that you've learned when you're experimenting and you get to apply them to your own project and create something that you're really, really proud of. And even though we do one project, like finished project, you really do a lot of processes. You guys know how I teach. I'm process focused. So I teach a ton of processes, and then you guys get to apply those to your project so that you can commit them to muscle memory and you can take them home with you and take them forward with you, including how to mix your own colors. So everybody made their own color palettes. I only had like primary colors on the tables. So you had to make your own colors. And so having to do that over and over again, whether you were making collage papers or whether you were painting your subject, you had to mix your colors. And so for a lot of my attendees, it's something that they were able to take home with them, right? And continue to use in their creating. And so if you're interested, you can put hashtag retreat if you're on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, I do have a link in my community section. You may have to scroll down a little bit to find it, but it's there. Oh, I know, Sharon, you told me. And I know one of my ladies in my membership, she actually hosts a retreat. She's like, I'm so sad. I have an event. And the girls were like, well, you can just change it. She goes, it's my event. So there's no changing it. I'm filling it to make sure it's not like super tacky. And you guys know I'm rushing things. So if it's you, I would iron it, make sure it's completely dry before you iron, and then move forward. I have all kinds of stuff on here, y'all, from my mat, but it's okay. So let's get to the paper. So we're going to use the water cutting method to cut out our flower. Let me put this iron away before I burn myself. We don't want to have any incidents over here. What time is it? Oh my gosh. And I still have to go to the warehouse today to get more orders out. Um, be sure to tune in on Wednesday morning, you guys. Wednesday morning to see the new design. I should have brought lids with these when I brought these out. The new recycled decoupage paper designs. And I know you guys are tired of seeing this flower. You guys are tired of seeing it, but it's my favorite. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. So I'm going to do like a really rough cut just to get it off of this big paper. I could probably do that with scissors, but I'm already in motion. You guys ever notice like when you're working, you'll think of another way to do it like halfway through, but if you're already in motion, you're just, you know, I'm going to actually save that. I might use that on another side. If you are curious about how to mix your own colors or you want to understand it, I do have a crafting and color course on my website. However, if you want to like take your decoupage to the next level, right? and you want to learn color theory, just sign up for the Decoupage with Confidence course, because I do spend time in that course talking about mixing your own colors, and we spend a lot of time mixing our own colors, and we're actually matching them to the paper. So I spend a significant amount of time in the Decoupage with Confidence course showing you guys how to blend your papers when they're not large enough. Because that's probably the question that I get, one of the questions I get the most. So I spent a lot of time on that. And when I say a course, I want you guys to understand that the way my mind works, if I can understand why something works, then I will remember it, right? And because I am wired that way, I just assume everyone else is. So that's how I teach. So the first 3 parts, I think, are basically how to get a wrinkle-free finish. So will you get the basics? Absolutely. But then you guys get to explore other things as well, other ways that you could use decoupage in your projects. Um, and then we also talk a great deal about how to, sorry, I'm trying to talk and figure this out at the same time. How to blend your paper when it doesn't, when it's not big enough. And I actually pull, like, I think it's 3 or 4 different designs, and we blend them together using different techniques. So when I teach, it's pretty extensive just because I want you to walk away feeling confident in your abilities. And I want you to just walk away knowing why it works so that you can maintain the information. And usually, whatever you learn, you can use in other like creative practices too, not just in what I'm teaching. And so I'm just going through and taking my water close to, and I'm just tearing it out. I like this better than like drawing a line, because you guys can probably tell that I'm not a meticulous person. So this is just easier. I just paint the water exactly where I want to tear, and then I tear it out. And the smaller brush you use, the more control you have. And if you've been joining me, if you're new to decoupage and you've been joining me in the month of January, you probably feel like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much about decoupage. What possibly more could there be? There's a lot more. I hope you there's I keep saying 6 designs, but there's 7. There's 7 designs. Um, and I try to be mindful of my retailers, and it's hard for them when you have like a ton of SKUs. So I only did 7 design for this release to make it a little bit easier for them to be able to buy inventory. And honestly, last year my spring came out so late that I really don't feel like people really use it that much. And so it's almost like you guys have 2 spring releases, the stuff from last year. So like I think, what do we create with with one from last year? Because I know I've used it at least once during our lives in January. Although we've done a lot of grungy stuff. And I've already started preparing my gallery wall in my living room because I want to take probably everything won't make it into my I'm going to make it's going to be a series of vignettes. And when I say vignettes, it's going to be a weird vignette because I have this gallery wall in my living room. And so I have the wall, and then I have a dresser under the wall, and I have these floating shelves that we made out of old sewing drawers. So there's just a lot of opportunity for different vignettes right there in that space, which is why I made it that way, because I just love making them. I don't know why. It's almost like assemblage, but like bigger. But I'm going to take a lot of the things we've made this month. I don't know if the really springy stuff is going to make it up there, y'all. But definitely the more grungier stuff will make it, because I'm literally going to leave it in my living room for a bit. And I'm just going and I'm literally painting water. You guys see I'm painting water right there in that space because that's where I want to pull the paper from. And so what happens is that I'm able to pull that paper and it's not going to mess with the, I can be fairly reckless and anywhere where it's dry, it's not going to pull out because I'm not using enough pressure to pull out the dry paper. And I do want to paint this as close as possible because this is going to basically be a medallion that I'm adding, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but I mean, the less paper you have, the better. And we're going to spritz this when we decoupage it to make it as transparent as possible. And doing medallions when you're doing a fabric project like this is also good because it's less likely to be disturbed. So let's talk about when it's a good idea to decoupage fabric. Um, I am not a huge proponent of like decoupaging the seats of a chair. I feel like when someone sits in that chair over and over and over again, and I mean like a soft chair, if it's a hard chair, you're fine. If it's a wooden seat, you're going to seal it with a quality varnish, you're good to go, right? But like an upholstered seat, like a fabric seat, I feel like someone is going to be sitting in that chair and that's going to be a lot of movement. And eventually that the paper is going to be impacted by that movement. Now, if you're fine with that, that's fine. I just never want to misrepresent the paper because ultimately it is paper. Something like this is a bag, it's flat, and it's, I mean, you know, unless you're like balling it up and throwing it in a box somewhere, it's really not going to see that much flexing. For the most part, you're going to be carrying it and it's going to be flat. So this will be fine. And even if you do like a medallion on a pillow, um, you should be fine because it'll flex around that medallion. If you have it decoupaged from edge to edge on a throw pillow, just know that it's going to be purely if you don't want, you know, the grandkids could not play with that pillow and throwing it at each other and hitting each other with it. That's not going to be good. So just know that this is paper, and there's very few things that are going to really change the nature of the fact that it is paper. And I'm sorry this is boring, but I guess I should have had one done like they do on the TV, have like a cake ready, bling, and it's all done. But honestly, usually I prep the night before, but I did all my prep this morning because last night Royce was asleep. Thank you, Chris. Um, I love that brush. I need that grip for a solid. You know what? So a lot of what we talk about here is about modifications that we can make because you know I have. I mean, I'll be 56 in a couple of days, so I'm not like I'm in my midlife, I guess. But I'm already dealing with some things. Like I have arthritis in my hands. So there are simple things that I do. Like this line brush, yeah, makes it a lot easier. And this is a lot easier for me to hold than this brush, right? And having this Exacto makes it a lot easier for me to hold rather than the regular metal ones that are really skinny. And so there are things that I can do that make it easier for me to be able to continue to create comfortably. Because if I'm comfortable, I'm going to create, like, I feel like I'm going to create more beautifully because I'm not going to be rushing and I'm not going to be hurting. And I'm probably going to be able to spend longer time frames. Although working in short bursts is fine too, if that's where you are, you know, in your physical journey and working. Um, Working in short bursts is a really good way to continue to be able to create. But absolutely. I remember when I found that Harbor Freight has this hydraulic lift that you can use for furniture. Oh, I was so happy because that furniture had started killing me. We're on the last leg, you guys. And this piece is a big piece, but I can do it all at once. So, sort of. You know what I mean? I can just rip it out like that in one piece. And I'm going to leave that paper. I'll clean that up later. Don't worry. I promised George, we cleaned up my studio like at the end of the year. So when I told him I was going to be doing lives every day, you should have seen the look on his face. I was like, don't worry, I'm going to clean up every day. It's not going to be bad. It's a little bad, but it's not like horrible. It's mostly projects though, honestly. Okay. How do I have it? I think like this is good. And then let's choose um, one person from, or, subject. I just love this dog so much. I really do, but we won't, not today. He won't go on there today. But when I found him, I had to use him. She looks so badass, doesn't she? I just love that. Sorry. Let me see. This one seems like it's to scale. So let's use this one. This is the same one I used in my book too, isn't it? You guys see how I mistreat my papers? I'm terrible. Do I want to use her? Or do I want to use this one? No, they're just not big enough. I'm going to go with this one. Whenever I make a master board, I like to make things like different sizes. So this one is larger, this one is larger, these are larger, but you also have some smaller ones. That one's smaller, this one's smaller, so that you have choices for which one you want to make. And I'm gonna put these on here. We're gonna paint around all these. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here because I kind of want her to be organic, but there really isn't anything for me to follow for her necessarily. There isn't like I don't know. I got to make my own edge basically because there's not really something on here that I can follow. And the rest is actually okay. I wanted to keep that topography right there. And let's just do this one. Anytime that you're working on a project and you have a straight edge, um, the eye is just going to naturally go to that edge. And so um, the same thing holds true to using the water method to cut as it does when you're spritzing your paper, which is if you have like a lot of pigment on the front, you may want to consider doing your line on the back because then the water absorbs faster. Okay, so we're going to put her there. Should we put some music notes or should I just, what time is it? It is 1:04. I feel like I need something. I kind of like, sort of kind of like that. And this is just a scrap piece. This is from the music master board, you guys. It's just all music notes. They're different sizes. They go different directions. But I think we can use this. So I am going to go ahead and trim it right here on this line. And then we can get to decoupaging. I promise. I probably would be halfway done if I had just used the art blocks. Who voted for B? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, you like that dog too, Tammy? I really do like him a lot. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna go around though. I'm just making this edge organic. Um, so it really doesn't matter. I just don't want any like really sharp edges. Sometimes I like sharp. If I want something to look like it was a, you know, it just depends. Most of the time though, I'm using an organic edge, especially on something like this, where I'm wanting to kind of marry a bunch of elements together. I think part of my problem is the reason why I'm like tired because I'm getting a little dizzy. So not dizzy, like almost dizzy. I think that I forget to breathe. You guys ever forget to breathe? I know that sounds crazy, but I really do think that's the case. So I've been like checking in with my body lately just to see like where my body, like, I don't know, what is my tension like? Where am I holding tension? Are my shoulders up to my ears? Am I breathing? So I'll just stop and take a super deep breath and blow it out. Blow that shit out. Because I got stuff to do. And y'all know cortisol is a stress drug. I mean, a stress hormone, and it causes all kinds of stuff. I don't have time for that. I got things to do. Okay, this is it. I think these are all the elements we're gonna put on our project for today. Because if I keep going, we'll be here until tomorrow. So let's decoupage. And again, I'm going to be using a matte medium to decoupage today, since we're using GAC 900 to make everything like a fabric paint. I'm going to put a little bit of GAC in my medium, not too much, because this really isn't sticky at all. So I don't want to impact the adhesion of my product, but I am going to put a little bit of it in my medium. I'm using a matte medium, but you guys know the deal. You can use whatever your preference is as far as the sheen that you choose. Sometimes the sheen is important. So if you're wanting something to be transparent, a gloss is going to be your best friend. Anything that's even satin, matte satin, anything that's made to disrupt the sheen has mattifiers in it. They're just little particles that are floating around in there. And what they do is they disrupt the surface so the light doesn't bounce off readily. And those can make your stuff cloudy. So if you're trying to maximize the transparency of something, you don't want to have those mattifiers floating around. So in that case, you want to use gloss. And honestly, gloss is the strongest of all the different finishes as far as like durability. So if you're making something that's going to see a lot of traffic, you may want to start with a gloss. And if you prefer matte, to go over the matte. I mean, the matte is still strong, but the gloss is still the strongest because it doesn't have anything, right, disrupting the surface. So I am just, you guys see, I'm decoupaging it just the way I would any other time. And I would like to remind us that this is an experiment. Like, I am doing all the things that I think I should be doing, but I don't know. We're going to see. I just saw something on Pinterest and I was inspired by it. So I said, I'm going to try to do that. And we're going to see together if it works. And today is probably the most like what you would experience in the Recycled Besties membership. Do a lot of experimenting. We'll pick a subject and we'll spend like weeks on it. And I'll buy all the products and we'll experiment. We'll test products. We test processes, what works, what doesn't work. Sometimes things don't work in there too. One of the reasons why I'm so excited about the crackle medium that I'm using now is because we literally spent, it's Chris here. Chris, how many weeks did we spend on crackle? And I bought like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different, crackle products for us to try out. And we tried them in different ways to see. And we meet weekly inside of the membership. And so I'll teach something and then we spend the rest of the time just chit chatting and catching up. So I don't know how I've been blessed to have a membership of incredibly kind ladies and also incredibly talented ladies too. So we have a lot of I call them resident experts on different things. Okay. So can you guys see okay? I feel like I'm closer for some reason or something. Um, let's get our flour down. And I do want to make sure that it's kind of, I want it to be over the edge of most of the music sheets over here because I don't want this to be, I just want it to be like a supporting character, right? Not like a main character. And you see how I'm able to put down medium and it's not soaking up into the fabric? That's what putting that base coat really does for me. So now I can treat it basically like any other surface that I'd be working on. The rules are going to be the same. And I'm out of decoupage medium. So let me make some more. And I'm using my matte medium. Um, and I'm mixing a little bit of the GAC 900 in there because the GAC 900 it heat sets, and so I don't want to put too much though because this is a lot more liquidy than the matte medium, and it's not tacky. So I want to make sure it's not real tacky. I shouldn't say it. It's not that it's not tacky at all, but it's not real tacky. So I don't want to disrupt the adhesive properties of my medium. So I'm probably putting in about like 25%. I'm not misting my paper, you guys, because I'm adding so much moisture and I really do want us to get to um, the painting today, although it's already 1:13, so I don't know. Otherwise, I would mist my paper first before I decoupage just to make sure I get a nice wrinkle-free finish. Um, but I would like for us to be able to do something today. And I have the grand today, so I have to like get down here with you guys, get to the warehouse, get some orders filled, and then pick him up from school, and then go to the post office, and then get back, get dinner started, get little people in the bathtub. You guys know. Okay. I feel like I'm going to love this so much. Sorry. How many of you guys have played with the paintable papers yet? I'm just curious. I mean, you don't have to paint them. They're beautiful just like that, right? However, I'm hoping you guys are playing with them because, and you can put together all kinds of stuff too. I contemplated putting a bird on here too from one of the other paintable designs, but we only have so much time. I kind of feel like those music sheets up there require a bird though. First, I promised you guys quick crafts. Then I said they would be start to finish. And you guys know what? I don't know if we're going to be able to do this one start to finish in one sitting, if I'm being honest with you. So now, oh man, I'm going to drive myself crazy because I should have just cut her out and not all this background, is what I'm thinking. But it's kind of too late. Even this piece, it's okay. If I wanted some more topography, I could stamp on here, right? So on the como se dice, the clipboard, we have a lot more options because we're working on a solid surface, right? But we can still, even though we're working on fabric, you can still put a stencil on here, right? You can still stamp on fabric as well. Um, so you don't have as many options, but you do have options. Bye, Beth. Thank you for hanging out. Michelle, you have. Oh, that's going to be so pretty. Do we need a bird? I feel like with the music sheets, we need a bird. We're not going to finish today. We're going to finish tomorrow, but we're going to finish our composition today. Is that fair? I just had paintable designs out. What did I? Oh, you know what? I moved something. So we have these other paintable designs. We have the paintable bloom, and it has butterflies on it. A butterfly might be pretty, but I'm thinking that because of the music notes, that a bird might be nice. So if you bought like the fall design, you can still use bits of this, even though like it's not fall anymore. I'm thinking I'm going to use that bird right there. And then tomorrow we will paint everything. Is that okay, you guys? Oh man, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. I acted hastily. And I should have stamped the bird on too, right? Oh, do I even have? Should I put the bird or no, you guys? Is that going to be too much? No bird. We won't do a bird. Okay. So I am going to dry this and then I'm going to iron all this again. After it's dry, though, if you try to iron it with something now, then whatever this is here is going to stick to your iron. I mean, it's going to stick to your surface. We need the bird. Okay, I'll put the bird. Hey, Kay. Okay. we'll put the birdie. We'll let this one kind of sit aside and dry a little bit because we're probably not going to make it to painting today anyways. So there's no sense rushing. So we need the little birdie. I'm trying to figure out, I kind of want there to be a branch. That's why I didn't mean to cut right there. So we're going to cut close to that branch. I cut it already. Let me get the bird on there and then we'll see if we need it. Can you guys see what I'm doing? And so I'm using my brush and I'm going to pull all the water away from this bird just like I did before. And I kind of want that little greenery too. And again, using the water cut method allows me to cut accurately, but also maintain organic edges. It's going to make it easier to blend all this together when we start working on our project. Whoops, I lost the berry. The smaller the brush you use, the more accurate you can remove paper, right? Once you write like a line of water, it does start spreading. So I don't put it, my line is not right on the bird, it's kind of next to the bird because I know that my water is going to start spreading as soon as I lay it down, which is why I don't kind of go all the way around and then try to remove it. And the water does dry fairly quickly. So it's just easier to paint a little bit and then pull it and paint a little bit and then pull it. Okay. I'm thinking he can go right there. I tell you guys I washed my brushes Friday. Was it Friday or Saturday? I actually did wash brushes last week. He goes up there. Okay. Just checking. So we're basically collaging, right? We're making a collage out of all this paper, but we get to pull it all together with paint tomorrow. What do you guys think? Do we need to add anything else? I think that's good. Why am I still looking? It's because I want something down here. Lord have mercy. Tell me, say, Roy, stop. So I'm going to go over everything. Um, we're going to make sure everything is really tacked down really well. And I think it is. If I see any like buckles or anything, I want to address them now. I wouldn't handle this too much at this point. Um, because it is fabric underneath. And if the fabric's buckling, that can cause your paper to buckle. And so for today, I just want to make sure everything is tacked down really, really well so that when we go over this tomorrow with paints, um, and the matte medium is going to help us have a little bit of texture on the surface so that the paint lays down really nicely too. And that's the one thing about using the matte versus the gloss. If you use a glossy, you're more likely to have like, what do you call it? Like you put your paint down and it just like separates and lays down really weird. But the matte medium, you're less likely to have that happen. So I'm just making sure everything is tacked down really well. And I'm going to dry this and then iron over this, and then we're going to be ready to paint. I don't think all that's going to happen today because it's already 1:30 almost. So if there are any questions that you guys have though, you know what? I'm probably going to add stamps, Tammy. I'll be honest with you because I do feel like this area right here needs something. I want to have breathing space. I think that's fine. And the music notes helps by adding something to the background, but I feel like maybe some heavier font here on the bottom would be nice, which since we're not going to try to paint today, I could. Hmm. Oh, you know what we should do? Let me see something really quickly. And I don't know how well this is going to work, but we can see I have a piece of a paint inlay here. So let's see if we can get, because I just want topography though. I don't want, that says lavender water. I'd like it to be a little bit heavier than that. But I might have to settle for that. Ooh, I kind of like this. It's not really heavy though, but it says James Topley Apothecary, and then it has an address. I feel like that would be absolutely something that I would add. But if I add it now, I'm going to paint. So we're just going to add this later. We'll add this on top. So I'm not going to worry about filling this spot in. After we get it painted, we'll go in and we'll add a paint overlay in this corner to balance things out. I think that's going to be a good idea. I do have the crackle stamp, and you're right. We need some crackle don't we? So yeah, I keep, you guys know what? So I have a little thing over here, a little like storage thing from the Dollar Tree. And so the old crackle, I know now they have the vintage textures and you get 4 different textures, but back in the day, you used to get a whole 12 by 12 of just crackle. And so I cut it up into pieces and I make the edges really organic. I feel like when you use a really sharp edge, like a corner, sometimes you catch that corner. So I like to cut mine in organic pieces and then I'll use it. So after this dries or tomorrow before we get started, we can do some stamping. And so absolutely we can add some crackle with our stamp. And maybe that'll be afterwards, actually, because if we do it before, we're going to paint over it. But yes, I vote we paint first, and then we can add any stamps that we want. Maybe we'll do something through here that might peek through the paint a little bit. We'll see tomorrow what tomorrow brings. Joy says a short, chunky word diagonally from lower left corner with masking the flower so it's on top, like something like that. You could do that. Like honestly, so this is why I love working like this, right? Like a project like this, I could lose myself in. I could sit down and start, and you're so focused on like what your next decision is going to be, what color you're going to use, that you can just forget about anything else that you have going on. and you can lose yourself in your art. And I love it. It is my favorite. And so I really do want you guys, your homework. So you guys' homework is to just to create your composition, right? Out of your stuff and put it together the way that you want. I'm not even going to talk about any kind of composition or anything. I want you guys to work from your hearts and just lay some things out that bring you absolute joy. And then when we come tomorrow, we can all paint together. And just when you're pulling your supplies to join me tomorrow, think about transparent paints. That's going to make it easier for you, especially if you're working with the paintable decoupage papers, because I could, and we've done that when we did this one, when we did the clipboard together, I just used one transparent color over that entire flower, right? Now I painted so that my strokes went in line with the flower, but it was just transparent. And look at how beautiful it is. And so this is the beauty of your paintable designs, is that all the shading is done for you. All the highlights, any area where there's nothing, those are highlights. You have some areas where it's really, really heavy. Those are your heaviest shadows. But you have this one in particular, I think is my favorite because there's so many values. There's probably one, two, three, there's like 5 sets of values on this flower. These guys have about 3. It's not as many, but still, all your value sets are there. All your shadows are there. So I could just go over him with one whole color and he would still be gorgeous. He would be beautiful. But you guys know I'm a little much, so I'm probably not going to use one color. But when you guys are pulling out your paints, if you don't have transparent paints, then just pull out, if you have like chalk paint on your table, pull out your clear coat and make sure you have that ready to mix with your paint. If you have acrylic products on your table, then just pull out some medium that you have available that you can mix with your paint to make them more transparent. Or you may already have transparent colors on your table. And the way that you know is there's a little square on your paints. You see how this square is filled in? That means that this is opaque. I can't see through it. It's a solid color. Sometimes you'll have this one, it'll be half and half. That's semi-transparent. And if it's just a square and it's empty, that means it's a transparent color. So I think this one has it. So it's just a square and there's nothing in it. And it's a transparent color. So if you have acrylic, then you can bring those out. If you don't know, because I know sometimes maybe the craft acrylics don't have that on there, just put a little color on a paper and like brush it out. And if you can see through it after it dries, it's transparent or semi-transparent. But if it lays down, it's a solid color, then that means it's an opaque color. And this really works better if you're using transparent colors because you can really take advantage of the values that are already done for you on this piece. And I think that I'm probably going to get this dry enough to be able to iron it, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow to iron it. I'm going to wait till it's completely dry. Um, and then I'll iron this and then we'll come back tomorrow and we will paint together. I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to complete a project from start to finish, but I got a little carried away today. I probably would have been able to finish if I had used the fine art blocks. And honestly, like you can paint a solid piece of paper on here, but I do think your bag is probably going to last longer if you have like areas in the middle where there isn't paper, because it's like if it can flex, it's going to flex. If your bag is flexing, it's going to go to the area of least resistance. So if there's an area that's really stiff and there's an area next to it that's not as stiff, that flex is going to happen here. But if it doesn't have a place, then it's going to happen where your paper is. And then you're more likely to have problems like down the road as you use it. But for a tote, you shouldn't have any real problems with it flexing because we really don't use it like that. But if you're like crumpling it up or something, then there may be issues because ultimately at the end of the day, this is still paper. So we're going to paint this and then tomorrow we'll seal it with our liquid vinyl. Which is going to protect it. And so the way that the liquid vinyl works is if you put one layer on there and you iron it, it's going to be stain resistant. If you put a second layer on there and you iron it, 2 layers, then it's going to be waterproof. You want to make sure an iron in between, otherwise you're not putting separate layers. And then if you do 3 layers, you're essentially, it's going to be like oilcloth, right? It's going to be impervious. And so I'm probably going to do 3 layers on top of here, and it's going to be a little stiff, but like, I don't care. Because you think about those canvas bags with the artwork on them, if those are painted canvas, they're going to be really stiff, but they're still gorgeous. So you think I could call this complete? I don't know. You know, I want to do more, Sharon. More is more. Some people say less is more, but more is more. I'm kidding. I mean, you could do a collage like this, and then this would be really pretty. And we could go over it with the vinyl, and you could be done. But I want us to paint tomorrow and bring all these elements together. And I want you guys to I want to share my heart about like the paintable designs. Once I started taking my art classes, I really realized that it is literally just a matter of knowing, understanding how things work to be able to create art. The part to me that takes me the longest and the most concentration is being able to capture form. So being able to draw a shape to look like the thing, like a bird, a person, or whatever. And so I really love the idea of bringing you guys things where that part's already done. And now you can just participate in the fun part of painting your piece. And I've been really focusing on transparent layers with this flower because I want you guys to just do it. But after you do transparent layers for a little while, I do want us to play with some opaque application with the flower, because you can paint this with opaque paints, and you can use these lines as guidelines to help you decide like what colors you're going to paint where. But that is all I have for you today, you guys. Welcome to my laboratory. I hope you guys had a fun time. I love experimenting because I understand that that's where my creativity grows. And I want you guys to give yourself permission to play, to experiment, to have fun, and just see what happens. So remember that where experimenting goes, creativity follows. You guys have a blessed day, and Lord willing, I'll see you here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. You guys have a great day.